Today, our Bassmasters TV cameras are covering the Virginia Invitational near South Hill, Virginia. Depending on when you're fishing here, Kerr Reservoir, or Bugs Island Lake as it's known, can be as different as two separate lakes. In the spring, the water is high. The bass are in the bushes. Flipping shoreline cover is productive. Flip the calendar forward from May to mid-September, and Dr. Jekyll, Bugs Island Lake meets Mr. Hyde, Kerr Reservoir. It's a strange case of split personality for this Virginia-North Carolina border lake. The fall bassin pattern is much different. The lake level is down, 8 to 10 feet below normal. The shoreline cover high and dry. But the good news is that the bass gang up on offshore structure. Locating these key structure spots is a fast track to winning a tournament here in the fall. We'll show you why and how the pros adapt to seasonal pattern changes. Stay tuned. I'm Bob Cobb. We'll be right back with first round action in the Virginia Invitational.
Mid-September, the Bassmaster Tournament Trail returns to South Hill, Virginia, and John H. Kerr Reservoir, also known locally as Bugs Island Lake, and one of the best bass fisheries in the country. The $190,000 Bassmaster Virginia Invitational, with a field of 324 anglers paired 2 to the boat. Just 4.5 months ago, a 3-day creel of 48 pounds, 4 ounces won the Late Spring Bass Angler Sportsman Society's event here. Now, fast forward into early fall, and conditions change. Kerr Reservoir, in the wake of a summer-long drought, has shrunk a size or two, below its normal 50,000 surface acres. As defending tournament champion Denny Brower of Missouri explains, things are radically different.
Yeah, the biggest difference between last spring and this fall is that last spring, boy, there was just a ton of bass in the bushes. This fall, there's a ton of squirrels in the bushes. Makes a major difference in my fishing. Our biggest problem we're dealing with right now is water level. Last spring, it was way up into the cover. This lake fish is extremely big when it's in the cover. There's nothing in the water. It's way low this fall. It fishes extremely small. Imagine the majority of the fish will be caught out Carolina rigging, fishing the deeper structure.
With bass holding on offshore structure, there's no doubt about it. David Fritz of Lexington, North Carolina is among the favorites to pocket the $35,000 first place award. Fritz knows the underwater drop-offs, rock piles, and stump rows like his own backyard. His favorite area is the Nutbush Creek Arm, where he's fishing a creek channel point this morning. As expected, Fritz is using a chartreuse-colored Pose 400 Classic crankbait, a lure he skyrocketed to fame with in winning the Bassmasters Classic World Championship. David and partner Levon Bentley of Alabama are blitzing the area with casts, trying to trigger a strike, a reaction that often turns a school of bass into a feeding frenzy. And it's happening here, as Levon Bentley's hooked a fish he's going to need help with to get in the boat. The anglers are going for a 5 bass daily limit, and a keeper fish must measure at least 14 inches long. A bigger bass, a lunker largemouth like Levon's hooked up with, can be a big bonus in the creel's weight and earn a $1,000 prize for the biggest fish of the day.
Right now the fish are on the move. They've been out real deep. They're starting to move up in these creeks a little bit. They're starting to school up. I tell you, I've never seen the fish this time of year bunched like they are right now. I'm just fishing a little old stump row right here that's it's about 8 foot deep on top, and I'm sitting in 12 foot of water. The main thing is getting one trigger to strike. And what you gotta do is figure out what it takes to trigger that strike. Different retrieves, different actions, do different stuff with your baits.
At the day one weigh-in, it's apparent that pre-tournament pick David Fritz isn't the only pro to find a wad of bass. Four-time world champion Rick Clunn takes the lead with 16 pounds, 13 ounces.
About a 2-hour bite's what I get all day long, and then I got to catch them in that 2 hours because it's over after that.
Clunn leads, but local tournament fans are betting the outcome will be between David Fritz and another Lexington, North Carolina angler, Gerald Beck.
Wait for the bite, and folks, I want you to watch the scale now on Beck. 17 pounds, 1 ounce. Mark it.
Gerald Beck's won his share of tournaments on Kerr Reservoir. He's gonna make it tough on the visiting Tournament Trail pros. Beck and Rick Clunn are neck and neck, followed by Mark Russell of Oklahoma and pre-tournament pick David Fritz just over 3 pounds behind. Stay tuned. You'll find out crankbaits aren't the only lure to trigger a strike.
Stay down, fish. Stay down.
Mark Russell, in third place, believes he's onto the perfect pattern to win the Bassmaster Virginia Invitational. He's covering water, looking for aggressive fish, and casting a prototype topwater lure, the Storm Chuckbug, a bait not available to most of the other competitors. Mark of Oklahoma City is a pro staffer for Storm, a Norman, Oklahoma-based lure company. Winning a BASS Tournament Trail event is the surest way to launch a new lure to fame and fortune. And this bass could provide the launching pad if Mark and his partner, Ron Pierce of Mountain Home, Arkansas, can corral the leaping lunker. Go get 'em, boys.
He's fixing to come under the boat. Here he is, right there. See him right there? He just barely hooked. So. Where's my net? Thank you, Bubba. Got one hook in Ron and one hook in the fish. He's worth it. Thank you. Yeah. We can get 2 more like that.
Tournament leader Gerald Beck is deep cranking, sticking his fishing rod below the surface, trying to scratch the bottom cover with a diving plug, forcing it to the maximum running depth. But right now, partner Terry Boyd of Cincinnati, Ohio, is getting bit using a Carolina rig soft plastic lure. The bass in Nutbush Creek seem to be holding deeper this morning. David Fritz, in 4th place and needing to make up 3 pounds 5 ounces, is back near the mouth of a feeder creek off the Nutbush Arm. In the fall, bass migrate from their summer deep-water haunts to feed on shad schools in the creeks. One of the first stopping places is usually a sloping underwater point with some cover along a submerged creek channel. Fritz is getting strikes on a chartreuse-colored crankbait, the Pose 400 with a dark green back. He's using a new 10-pound test strand line designed for crankbait fishing. He could use a landing net, too, but BASS tournament rules forbid the use of nets. With overcast conditions, Rick Clunn's early morning bite is holding true, but he's fooled folks with his lure choice. Clunn's known for his success with crankbaits in fall tournaments, but today he's relying on a 1/4-ounce Stanley VibraShaft spinnerbait with copper and silver blades. Yesterday's leader, Gerald Beck, has scratched out another 5 bass limit, but he's changed location, thinking the fish may have moved shallow with the overcast skies. Gerald adjusted his pattern, looking for rock piles in a creek 5 miles up lake. He needs a big bite. This fish will help, but it's not the heavyweight the North Carolina angler wants.
One cast left. We might throw back one more.
At the day 2 weigh-in, bigger bass aren't showing up at the scales either. Pre-tournament favorite David Fritz has enough weight, 15 pounds 3 ounces, to take the lead. But he's got some regrets, a problem.
He has a bad tomorrow. 15-3 it is. Fritz, what are you doing? I know you're cranking.
I just can't catch any big fish. My partner's been catching the big ones every day, and I can catch plenty of this size, but I'm just not catching the big ones. My partner yesterday, a great guy, Levant, he had two about 6 pounds apiece, and then the partner with me today, he's got two close to 3.5 apiece.
I'm very sorry for you. I really feel sorry for you.
Well, you know, I
Just take up a collection. Even for somebody to pass a hat. I tell you, it's a really miserable day for you. I'm so sorry. I hope you sleep well tonight.
I will.
Sure, Ray, but don't pass the hat. Folks already claim this should be called the David Fritz Benefit Tournament. And don't count Gerald Beck out. Not just yet.
And the weights. Boy, he's on something good. 14 pounds even. Mark it. That's it. That'll put him right back in lead.
With a two-day score of 31 pounds, 1 ounce, Gerald Beck still the leader. Rick Clunn is only 6 ounces behind, and David Fritz pulls within 2 pounds, 2 ounces. But Denny Brower, the defending champion, makes the big move from back in the pack with 18 pounds, 11 ounces up to 5th place. Stay tuned. Final round action in the Bassmaster Virginia Invitational is coming up. The final round, cloudy, overcast conditions. Denny Brower, the defending champion, has charged back into contention in the Virginia Invitational with a topwater lure, the Rebel Popar. Brower won here last May with a soft plastic lizard pitched in flooded bushes, but has had to adapt a different approach for this tournament. He's working the nothing-looking banks, flat gravel clay areas, the secondary points overlooked by other contenders, fishing the deeper drops in the Nutbush Creek area. Shad baitfish are another key to his success, and the flicking retrieve with a topwater popar that mimics a spooked shad. With this bass in the boat, Denny's definitely back in the hunt. Dealing and reeling, tournament leader Gerald Beck is deep cranking, working hard. But there are no dividends yet for his backbending efforts this morning. He's thinking about changing area and technique. David Fritz, in 3rd place, has also had a slow start.
he wasn't even on the bottom, close to being on the bottom. I don't think he's going to go make grave, but
Rick Clunn, second in the standings, is on high 24 with his trolling motor, covering the shoreline with rapid-fire casts and a spinnerbait. Strikes are few and far between. Gerald Beck has switched to a Carolina-rigged plastic lizard, and it pays off. And David Fritz's repeated cast to his underwater stumps has brought results.
it's a big fish. Boy, I barely got him hooked. Can you help me? Oh man, I had barely got him. I knew the way he hit it. You just get your hands on him. He ain't real big, but he's the one I need. I had barely got him. Just grab him. There you go, grab him. Thank you. I had him foul hooked. I thought he was a bigger fish than that, but I'll take him right now.
Several patterns are working. Ed Cowan of New York has hooked a dandy largemouth on a topwater plug. Partner Zell Rowland of Texas, in 6th place, needed this fish to his credit. A grateful Ed Cowan will gladly credit Zell with an assist in the box score if they land this lunker. The cedarwood crankbait David Fritz is using has a weight insert, causing the bait to suspend and float up on a stop and reel retrieve. This erratic lure action triggers strikes. Zell Rowland has modified his topwater lure. Originally a Magnum-sized Rebel Pop-R, it's been sanded down by hand, had a facelift to alter the cupped mouth, and the treble hooks changed to a larger number 5 size. The paint job is Zell's handiwork, a dark back with light green sides and a flash of metal flake. He's missed few strikes since changing to the larger hooks after a disappointing first day of the tournament.
Oh, yes.
Then, moments later, another strike. Oh, he missed it. Zell. But then, an unbelievable second chance. A follow-up strike.
Oh, he's barely hooked.
All right.
It likes me.
Kerr Reservoir, or Bugs Island Lake, whatever you call it. This is some bass fishery. And this Bassmaster Virginia Invitational is just too close to call.
18 pounds and 5 ounces. There's your winner of the tournament right there unless somebody passes it. All right, that puts you right up there. That clearly puts
Denny
you
Brower, the defending champion, is back on top with a 3-day creel of 44 pounds, 3 ounces. Now, here's Zell Rowland from 6th place. He's got a load.
18 pounds, 9 ounces. He's taking the lead, I believe. Let's wait. Unofficially, they're tied. 18-9 put him in a tie with Denny Brower. That's the good news. He's tied. But the bad news is one of his fish was dead. One of the fish were dead. That means he has a 2-ounce penalty, which will move him down from the tie by 2 ounces. You understand that?
That's the way it is.
Gerald Peck has topped the leaderboard for 2 days, but slips today. Only 3 bass and 5 pounds, 15 ounces. Rick Clunn's going to make a run at the leader. He's got another 5 bass limit.
Not quite heavy enough, but still a good limit. 12 pounds and 8 ounces. Watch it close. 12.8 it is. All right, let's give him a nice hand. Rick Clunn.
It's not over yet. There's still one threat. David Fritz, the Bassmasters Classic World Champion.
15.5. All right, watch the scale closely. He has taken it. 15 pounds and 15 ounces. There is your winner of the tournament. Right here. Man, I cannot believe that is remarkable. Back-to-back, a classic. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever won a classic in my recollection. And then come right back and won the first invitational. Fritz is on a roll.
Ray, it's just a miracle is all I can say. I struggled today. I've been fishing in that bush. I said, well, I'm going to go where there's some big fish lives and just gamble a little bit. So I went up in Grassy. I pulled up there and I caught that one big one, and about 45 minutes later, I caught another big one, and I caught one that won the tournament for me with about 10 minutes to go.
The final totals: David Fritz, 15 bass and 44 pounds, 14 ounces. A real squeaker. Denny Brower only 11 ounces behind, followed closely by Zell Rowland in 3rd, and Rick Clunn finished 4th.
Come hear this wind through the mic, can you?
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters. Brought to you by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man.
What we got here is a lure retriever that I use all the time. It's called a gripper lure retriever. Saves me just tons of money, especially when I'm fishing with some baits that are really productive baits, and I don't want to lose them. What I've done, I've hooked it to my anchor ring, and what this does, it allows me to drop my lure retriever down, and once I get a hold of my lure and retrieve it, I can actually just wind my lure up, and by doing that, this anchor ring winds itself up, so you ain't got line laying all in the boat and to trip over, fall over, whatever. So it makes it a little faster process. And this is how you put it on your line. It just slides on real simple like this. You drop it down to your lure. And see how we've got this thing hooked? That's a pretty bad position. But if you bounce it, see how easy it just knocks your lure loose? I guarantee you, if you'll get you a good lure retriever, it'll save you a lot of money. Because these crankbaits cost $4 or $5 a piece. A lure retriever costs about $6. It'll save you that much money, probably the first 5 casts you make every day. Give it a try. I guarantee it'll help you.
David Fritz, he's a winner. At deep crankbait fishing, he may be in a class by himself. For sure, he's at the head of the class if you want to learn some lessons in fishing diving plugs. Next week, our Bassmasters TV cameras take you to Peoria, Illinois, and the Illinois River for the first ever Bassmasters Superstars tournament. It's an all-star cast, the legends of bass fishing, and a test for the best. Rising muddy water is indeed a challenge. We'll see how it plays in Peoria. For the Bassmasters, I'm Bob Cobb. We'll see you all next week.